Hi, still me, Nico. Um, so I was having a conversation with my cousin Ed the other day, and we were talking about public education and how people expect education to cover all of the topics that parents just kind of don't want to touch on at home. And I don't know. I don't know. I raised um, when I was when I was raising my youngest, I had the opportunity before she started public school. I had the opportunity to homeschool her for a couple of years, and during that time, I was able to uh, cover a lot of topics that they wouldn't have covered in school. Um, as she got older and she went to public school, I was able to shift the focus of the things that I taught her because I never stopped teaching her. And so I was able to cover the topics that, again, I knew they weren't going to cover in school, only this time I didn't have to also cover school topics. So I was able to tell her about how her body was going to change, about how when she gets older she'll start dating, or about religion, about all religions. I wanted to keep her mind open and have her choose for herself what her path would be. And I did that with all of my children, but with her specifically because she lived here longer, I was able to actually go through all of that with her and every day expand her mind just a little bit more, a little bit more. Every day on the way to school, we'd cover uh, another history, another mythos on the way to school, and on the way back again, we would cover whatever it is she'd covered in school. Finish her homework the moment we got in, and then we jump onto a topic that had nothing to do with school, so that I knew my child was fully educated. And if there was anything that she covered in school that I knew was half-assedly covered because of the amount of information or the limited amount of information that is given to school children, I pulled out encyclopedias. I pulled out websites that had clearer information or more information on those subjects, and we went through them together so she could have a clearer understanding of what actually happened. I feel that in those early years when I was homeschooling her, and even afterwards, that time that I spent with her, those conversations that I had with her, they bonded us more. And I don't understand how other parents wouldn't want to have that kind of bond with their children. I understand not having patience. I don't have very much of that myself. And whenever I felt myself when I felt myself losing patience, when I realized I was losing patience, I would put down that work and set her to some busy work, and I would set myself to some busy work to get our mindset clear so we can come back after a reset and we can do it again. Um, I think this left us open to having those conversations when she was older about relationships, about sex, about drugs, about everything really. It left her open to, she knew that she could have those conversations with me because I've been honest with her about everything until then. And so, I don't know. I think with me and her specifically, it was essential to our relationship for us to have had that. I don't think very many other families have that. I feel that a lot of families would are suffering without that. And I feel that the public school system is overburdened by trying to compensate for the lack of that in families. I don't know if that is coming across correctly. school is trying, the school board is trying to educate, well, give the children everything it feels is necessary in every child's development. Although half of these classes don't make any sort of sense for them when they leave school. They still aren't prepared to balance a checkbook or uh, deal with the real world in any real way whatsoever. And every couple of years I hear about how the school wants to add or take sex education off the table. And parents are up in arms about that. I feel more up in arms about them trying to force my kid to pray in any kind of way. That's not on them. I've already covered the whole religion conversation with my kid. That's not on them. I feel that the Board of Ed is overreaching, but it's because a lot of parents are leaving that responsibility entirely on the school board, and that's something that needs to be evened out. That's something that needs to be looked at by both parents and the school board, and for them to sit there and draw lines and say, okay, this is where you cannot cross, and that's where it falls into the parent's domain. The parent has to get a step up to the plate and be like, yeah, you know what? I'm the parent, and this is how I want my child taught about these things. Don't want to have the conversation with your kid? Fine. Make enough money, have your nanny. Have that conversation with your child. But I don't feel that these are things that the school board should be in control of. Because I think it's too blanket of a cover. I feel that parents individually should make those kinds of decisions for their own children. What I see as okay as far as sex education conversation goes might not be the same for another family. I taught my children about condoms being an effective birth control method. I gave them condoms once they were old enough to know what they were, so that they could take a look and realize what this thing is, and they aren't stupefied by it later on in life. And I made sure that they knew that if they ever needed condoms, Mommy had a drawer full of them. You know, my kids were taken care of on that front. I don't know. I don't know. I just think that this is a conversation that should be had. I've had it. As a parent, I've had that conversation with my kids, and I wonder how many other parents out there have had it. That's all.